Okay, so in my last video I uploaded a video that I changed out my coolant temp sensor. Now, I was hoping this would be able to give me an accurate reading on my gauge, so this way I know if my gauge was faulty and causing me to look like I was overheating when I actually wasn't, after replacing the water pump and the thermostat. Now that I've got the thermostat changed, the water pump changed, and the coolant temp sensor changed, I'm only looking at 3 other possible fixes for the overheating. The first one would be the bottom radiator hose that goes to the water pump. The second one would be the heating core is clogged or blocked up, which is causing no flow through of coolant through the heating core back into the system, which is causing it to overheat. I can fix that fairly cheap, if not very easily and no cost, by just bypassing the heating core and connecting the 2 hoses together. The third possible option that I was kind of thinking it could be, but because the spring was still springy and the rubber gasket around it was still good, I had never thought about the idea of replacing the radiator cap itself, because with it overheating it could have fried the radiator cap, which now I have to replace it, which that can cost from anywhere from $5 to $15. But this is also basing off of prices that were, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago maybe. So in doing that, changing that out, I tried to start the engine after doing the coolant sensor temp, and the battery was completely dead. And I couldn't, I know that I've had a power drain for some reason from something, and I didn't know where and what and why. But I got my multimeter out, and I was able to figure out how to turn it onto a multimeter to be able to check if there's power going into the system without having the negative battery cable connected, by touching the black wire to the negative cable wire, and then testing it by putting it on the negative battery post on the battery to see if there's any amperage coming through the multimeter into the cord. And I was reading at 2.8 amps, or yeah, 2.8 amps. And so that tells me that I've got almost a 3 amp draw on my battery, even when it's sitting totally off, nothing powered, nothing on. So I was able to troubleshoot where it was at, and this is the video that I show where I troubleshooted the area that I figured out that was causing the issue, because I took the multimeter and I connected it to the battery terminal on the battery on the negative, and touched the positive to a terminal that had some wires connected to it for some reason, which I didn't really come to a conclusion of what they were for until after I undid them and disconnected them. But here's the video showing what I figured out was the culprit and the possibility of this. Now, in the video I don't show this, but there is a black wire that is connected into this wiring that is also connected to the post, which is causing a spark, which is causing the draw on the battery. Alright, so as you can see, black wire that's connected to it connects in here and then is no longer connected to anything. After I took the tape off, it was disconnected from the wire, so I don't know what wire it was connected to. Probably that one. You can see it right here, this wire, which is one wire of that. Then I have this thing here that's connected into 2 white wires. So I don't know, maybe cut it back here, but wondering if this was just a grounding for the external extension cord wires, because the white wire goes directly into here and into the firewall right there. So does the green wire here that's connected down to that, and then the orange wire here that goes over to here, which is on that fuse that I took out, goes into the firewall as well. So these two wires go into the firewall, but they're not connected to anything other than the extension cord wires. So I'm not sure what the heck these were supposed to be. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, they might have used the black one as a hot wire, or for some reason, I don't know why, but it was connected into the green and I think it's the white wire that come out of the firewall that look like the color wires that go back to the back of the RV that would actually run the running lights, the brake lights, the turn signals, all that kind of stuff. And I think what they did was they had a mountable trailer kit that they wired in a electrical outlet plug, the male side, and plugged it into an extension cord, and in that extension cord ran directly up to the battery, which would allow when you turn your headlights on to turn those lights on that are plugged into it. So then you'd have running lights at night. Then you have the two already installed in there running off the normal lights wiring that are the brake and turn signals. So as of right now, as of up to before I left Arkansas, I had no running lights, so I couldn't drive the RV at night because I had headlights but I didn't have running lights. So before I left Arkansas, I wired in a set of tail lights for a trailer, hardwired them in to my custom fuse box up in the cab area, to where now they are toggled to power on and off when I want them and when I don't want them. So I have running lights, but now that I know that those two wires are possibly the wires that I could utilize to run from inside the dashboard of the cab into the firewall back to the back and hook up to those new lights that I installed for the running lights, I might be able to have those to be able to be turned on when I turn the headlights on if I wire them up correctly. So I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that's gonna be a next project to where I don't have to worry about utilizing the toggle switch to turn them on and turn them off and do all that kind of stuff. I just utilize the headlights and make sure the headlights get turned off so they're not draining power. But I believe I eliminated the power drain. So as of right now, I'm letting my battery charge up by solar panels, because I've got a 100-watt drop panel that I've got set up to hook up to the battery, and then I've also got my little 80-watt panel that I utilize for my solar heater that I've got connected into a pair of battery terminal connectors that are also powering and running solar to the battery as well. So hopefully by the end of the day, my battery should be fully charged up enough to where I can actually charge the battery and be able to get the battery to start the engine. I disconnected all the wires, all my custom fuse box wiring. I disconnected the negative power, negative engine battery wires, so this way it is charging with no interruptions, no drains, no possible options of drainage of the battery until I know that I've got it charged up enough to start. And then as soon as I know that it's starting, I don't have that 2.8 drain anymore. Hopefully my alternator will actually work in recharging my battery when I'm driving it. Once I get that accomplished, all that's set, we're good to go. I still got to do a load test on the RV to find out if it's still overheating when it's in drive and I'm utilizing the load of the gas being pushed in the engine to make it move and putting that load on it. So hopefully tomorrow I will be able to get the RV running and let it idle for 10 minutes. I'm going to let my exhaust fix cure, and once that's cured, after idling for about 10 minutes, maybe a little longer, depending on how cold it is, I'm going to go ahead and move the RV around the driveway and see if it overheats with a load. If it overheats with a load, I'm going to my next steps, which is the radiator cap, the bottom hose, for the water pump and the radiator, and then also bypassing the heating core. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that at least the coolant sensor fix was my problem, and I'm no longer going to be seeing myself overheating when I have a load on the engine. I'm also going to have to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on the overflow bottle while I'm idling to see if it's bubbling or boiling at any point in the overflow bottle after idling for a while. If it is, this is a possible issue to where I might have a head gasket leak or blown gasket, to where that's going to need to be replaced for some reason somehow, which is going to be a problematic issue because I don't know how long it'll allow me to drive the RV before it'll actually cause me more issues down the road, which will cause me more money in the long run. So I have to do my due diligence and figure this out slowly, and hopefully be able to get this figured out to where I don't see any problems with the radiator overflow bottle having coolant in it and it bubbling or boiling, which then tells me that I don't have any further mechanical engine issues that I have to deal with that were something that could have came up as unexpected. If the overheating stops, I can be able to move the RV with comfortably driving it and everything like that. So crossing my fingers, hoping for the best, and hoping that tomorrow's test gets me the results that I'm looking for, so this way I can be able to move the RV again, because one, I'm getting the itch to move. You know, I love hanging out with my friends and everything, and I love visiting family and friends and stuff, but I'm just needing to move. I'm getting that itch, and it is itching bad. So hopefully I get this all taken care of and I'm able to pull it off. I'm going to be able to move on down the road and go to my next location, since obviously my coming home wasn't a welcome as I thought it would be. Nobody wanted to come and see me, visit me. Nobody's called me to say, hey, while you're in the area, come visit, or anything like that. So basically feel like I came up here for nothing, basically. You know, I did get to see my buddy RJ, so, you know, that's a cool thing to deal with. You know, that was fun. But, you know, it's just the fact that, you know, I feel like there's nothing here for me anymore, you know. Even though I do have family and a couple friends in the area that I do consider friends, you know, there's just nothing else here that really makes me want to stay anymore. I tried to get my job back at the gas station, but they're overstaffed, so I wasn't able to pull that off. Since my RV's been down and I haven't been able to drive it because it's overheating, I haven't been able to go donate, so that's been out of play. So that's causing me some issue with fundage right now, but it is what it is. You know, because as soon as I get the RV back running again, I'll be able to accomplish getting back into having funds coming in again and gotta get back on my feet. Luckily, you know, before I left Arkansas, I had enough money to stock up on some supplies to keep me going for a little bit, which was a good idea. You know, because I was able to get my 2 20-pound exchange propane exchange tanks to exchange, so those are both full, minus the little bit I've been using off the one just to be able to cook and heat up water and heat up coffee in the morning. I've got a couple of green propane tanks, and it was cold for a little bit there at the beginning of May, towards the middle of May, that I ended up breaking out one of my propane tanks to get my buddy heater going, so I could heat my RV a little bit better. So yeah, it's just kind of playing it by ear currently, but like I said, you know, so I saw you a video of what I was looking at and go from there, kind of thing, and see where I'm currently at with the situation I'm involved in currently with getting things dealt with and accomplishing, you know, being able to turn something that could be a negative into a positive, because I'm able to accomplish the goal, which is to be able to get the RV to stop overheating, or to say that it's overheating when it's not, and be able to get it drivable again, where I feel confident, where I can feel like I can drive it for 45 minutes and go to the next location, or drive it for a couple hours and get to the next location, whatever the case may be. So as I'm doing this, you know, I'm just taking one step at a time, you know, and the main goal was to get the RV to quit overheating. And unfortunately, the main goal to get it to overheating consisted of a lot of mini goals of troubleshooting, figuring out which component of the RV's engine was causing it to overheat. So once I was able to eliminate a couple of items, knowing that these are brand new items and they should not be faulty in any way, shape, or form, I'm eliminating the possibilities of what it could be. Now, I could have went with some of the easier, cheaper fixes in the get-go, but my past experience tells me that, you know, I'm going to go with that big expensive one first, because I know that that could be a big possibility. My biggest thing is also trying to make sure that I kept the RV usable and movable if I sit somewhere. So like if I go out in the woods somewhere and sit for 2 days, I'm not worried that I'm sitting up there by myself. I have no traffic coming around me or anything like that. And I either got to do one of two things. I either got to flag somebody down to get me a jump, or I got to put my solar panels out and let them charge my battery. Now that I've eliminated that drain on my battery, I shouldn't have to worry about doing that if I park for 2 days or more, to where I feel confident that my RV is going to start even without having solar panels put on there or having to get a jump. So that's basically where I'm at. So we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow produces some real results, and I'll have a new video for you guys so you guys can see where I'm at and the results that I've made to be able to pull things off, to be able to get me back down the road again. These are all things that we deal with in life, you know, kind of things that we deal with. And, you know, a lot of times a bad situation can go worse because of the way we look at it, the way we perceive it, the unavailability of being open-minded to take suggestions from somebody, you know, being open, being an objective thinker to be able to say, okay, well, if this doesn't work, what would be my next step in the process of getting this taken care of, and then figuring out how to pull it off and being able to pull it off, and then doing it, and then actually going on to the next step if you need to, if you're not able to accomplish the goal after that step. So one thing I do like about having RV engine issues is because of the troubleshooting, sometimes the first troubleshooting step is usually the correct one you need to do to complete the goal that you're trying to accomplish. So if I was overheating and it was just because my thermostat was bad, replacing my thermostat would have accomplished that goal, and it would have been that one step. But because it wasn't my thermostat, I did the water pump, and because it wasn't my water pump, I got to move on to the next step, and then the next step, and the next step. But tomorrow I'm going to plan on accomplishing 2 instead of 1, where I'm going to replace the bottom radiator hose and do the heating core bypass all at the same time. This way, if it is either one of those 2 components causing me to overheat still after getting everything figured out, getting my drain done, fixed off my battery, and being able to get the battery to charge up and then get it to start and run and be recharged by the alternator and put a load on it and it still overheats. If I accomplish those 2 goals and I still overheat, there is only one process left, and that is the radiator cap. So we'll see what happens and go from there. So until then, take it easy, don't stress, you'll get through it. I trust that you have the ability to be able to do it. I have faith in you. Till next time, peace.